Tonight, WWE presents SummerSlam from Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, Nevada. One of the featured matches on the show, and we do have to talk about it. We do have to talk about it. Unfortunately, we've got to talk about it. We've got to say it. We'll get through it. We'll get through it relatively quickly. Is for the WWE Championship. The almighty WWE Champion Bobby Lashley is defending his WWE Championship against Goldberg. Now, I think the most important thing to state here is that I don't think Goldberg wins. So that's the important thing, is I don't think Goldberg wins. I know that's relatively straightforward, and I think everyone thinks that. My only concern, this must be stated there, my only concern when I say I don't think Goldberg wins is that WWE is returning to Saudi Arabia in October. They're returning to Saudi for the Crown Jewel pay-per-view in October. And given that they are returning, and given how much of a staple that Goldberg has been for those Saudi pay-per-views, it's not... And I don't want this to come across like I'm trying to justify why Goldberg is going to win this match, but it's not out of the realm of possibility. It's not the biggest stretch in the world that Goldberg could win this match and then drop the championship at Saudi Crown Jewel in October. That's not the biggest stretch in the world. Now, logistically, in terms of a contract, that doesn't make sense because Goldberg is contracted to 2 matches per year. This is his second match this year. Of course, he had the first match in January for the WWE Championship against Drew McIntyre at the Royal Rumble, and he lost. Remember that. We'll touch on that in a second. So this would be his second match. So realistically, he should lose this match and disappear. But things change, money talks, and Goldberg loves that Saudi money. So I would put that out there. Now, when it comes to Goldberg challenging for the WWE Championship, we've spoken about this extensively here on the channel. I'm not talking anything new here. I'm not breaking any new ground when I say it's laughable. And it's not laughable because it's Goldberg. It's not laughable because he's 55 or however old he is. It's not laughable for those reasons. Just from a pure logic point of view, it makes zero sense. You can obviously talk about a part-timer coming in, taking a featured spot for the WWE Championship. You can talk about Goldberg has matches that last 2-3 minutes. You can talk about him being a bad worker. You can talk about all of that. And you can have the people that are pro-Goldberg, for whatever reason, that say he still gets a reaction, he still sells tickets, he still causes or draws people to watch the channel or watch the product, all that kind of stuff. My point of view is, okay, let's forget that, because that's up for debate and some people will disagree. Let's look at the sheer logic of it, or lack of logic of it, and the facts involved here. Bill Goldberg has wrestled for the World Championship in his previous 2 matches for WWE. One was earlier this year against Drew McIntyre for the very same WWE Championship, and he lost. The match prior to that was at WrestleMania 36 against Braun Strowman for the Universal Championship. He was the Universal Champion at the time, Goldberg, and he lost. Both matches he lost in about 2 minutes, 3 minutes. So where in the logic is there that the last 2 matches the guy had was for a World Championship and he lost decisively in about 2 or 3 minutes? Where is the logic to state that he should be challenging, therefore, for the WWE Championship at SummerSlam? Where is it? There is none. That's my problem with this match. There is no logic here that states that Bill Goldberg should challenge for the WWE Championship. And it's this weird sort of track that WWE has fallen in when it comes to Goldberg, and for a lot of guys, when for whatever reason there isn't any logic, when there isn't any logic of I'm going to challenge for the WWE Championship, or I'm going to challenge for the Universal Championship, or the creative team can't figure out a way of how do we make Goldberg the number 1 contender? How do we make him challenge for that championship? Because he's not going to wrestle a match. So how can we figure that out? How can we do that? I know what we'll do. We'll just have Goldberg come out and just say I'm the number 1 contender. I'm next. I'm the number 1 contender. How is that meant to work? That doesn't work like that. Life doesn't work like that. And I know your response to that might be, Owen, but you're trying to find logic in illogical situations here. You're trying to find logic in the same company that said that John Cena can challenge for the Universal Championship because he crossed out Finn Balor's name and signed the contract. You're saying that, I don't know, that's Baron Corbin, I guess, is technically holding the Money in the Bank contract and the Money in the Bank briefcase. Why? Because he picked it up. This company doesn't rely on logic. Either way, it's an illogical situation. And I do like to try and be rational in these kind of situations as well. I don't want to be one of those people that just rants and raves and says all of these things and says, how terrible, I can't believe Goldberg's wrestling and I can't believe Goldberg's in these featured spots, because I can see the other side of it. Now, I do think that the people that defend having Goldberg in a featured spot at SummerSlam are defending WWE to the point where they're overlooking facts and they're just blocking out logic, because you do hear these people that defend Goldberg, and a lot of them are on WWE's payroll. And a lot of them are producers or wrestlers or office staff or whoever that defend having Goldberg in this kind of match. They'll say, yes, but did you hear the reaction that Goldberg got? Did you hear the reaction that Goldberg got when he came out? And it's true. I don't disagree there. Goldberg does get a good reaction when he comes out. The crowd does chant Goldberg. The crowd is happy to see him. Sometimes. Depends on the city. But there are still people on social media, there are still people in the crowd that don't care for it. And it must be said, I'm not one of those people that says Goldberg shouldn't be on the show. There's no place for Goldberg. There's absolutely a place for Goldberg, I think. I do. I don't disagree with that. I think the best use of Goldberg that WWE has done in recent memory is when they had Goldberg versus Dolph Ziggler at SummerSlam 2019. That is perfect. That is perfect use of Bill Goldberg. Have him face someone on the mid-card, not an up-and-comer, someone that's well-established. Have him face someone that, if Goldberg beats him at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter for their career because Goldberg wins and he'll go away. But have Goldberg face someone, a Sami Zayn, someone like that, where he'll spear them, he'll do the jackhammer, he'll get the win. The crowd are happy because they got to chant Goldberg. The crowd are happy because they saw a spear and they saw a jackhammer. It builds up Goldberg, because if you do want to do another match like this, it's difficult to sell when he keeps losing matches. And I think that's the best use of him. I thought the best use of Goldberg, again, was that Dolph Ziggler match. He came out, he speared him, he jackhammered him. That was it. Dolph Ziggler said, oh, you haven't beat me yet. He came out and he speared him a ton more times. The crowd was happy. The crowd was popping. Because they like that. They like seeing Goldberg beat people up. Go back to WCW in the late 90s. How did Goldberg get over initially? By beating people. By dominating people. And eventually you built him up till he had those matches against Hulk Hogan and all that kind of stuff. And that's the reason that you can use Goldberg today, is because of how they built him up in WCW in the late 90s. And I think at this point, the idea that he is a credible challenger for the World Championship, the WWE Championship, whatever you want to call it, is laughable. Truly, it's laughable. And yes, you can say that people are interested in it because it sells tickets or he gets a reaction. There's no need. There's no need for it. Have him face a mid-carder, have him face a Miz, or someone like that. I know the Miz isn't cleared, but that kind of person, the loudmouth, he shuts him up, he does the spear, he does the jackhammer, get out of there, that's it. That isn't a bad use for Goldberg. There is still a use for him, but it's just not for the WWE Championship. So I expect Bobby Lashley to win tonight. There's been a lot of emphasis on Goldberg's son, Gage, in the build-up to this one. Are they going to do something physical with him? I really don't think they can. I know I've seen some people say, Gage is going to get involved and Lashley's going to lock in the Hurt Lock on Gage or something like that. The kids, well, it's not even a guy. The kid is 15 years old. So, it's tantamount to child abuse if that happens. So, I don't think that is going to happen. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe there's a spot that involves him in the match. I say a spot, but that would be it's a 2-3 minute match. The only thing I could see is that maybe Goldberg spears Lashley. I don't even think he can get him up for a jackhammer, to be honest with you. He couldn't get up Bray Wyatt. He struggled to get up Drew McIntyre earlier this year. McIntyre had to fling himself in the air. I don't know if Goldberg can get up Bobby Lashley for a jackhammer. That itself is going to be interesting to see. But I could see a scenario where Goldberg hits Lashley with a spear, does an attempt at a jackhammer or whatever, and then MVP starts to maybe grab Gage at ringside or something like that and causes Goldberg to get distracted, and then Lashley locks in the Hurt Lock and he gets the victory. Let's face it, if he gets the Hurt Lock in and Goldberg essentially passes out, that's a big deal, I guess. Goldberg doesn't really pass out, he gets pinned, and maybe that's the reason. Maybe the reason from WWE's point of view is, well, yes, you know that Goldberg's going to lose, but how often have we seen Goldberg tap out or pass out? We haven't really seen that before when it comes to Goldberg. Maybe that's the point. So maybe that's the direction that they're going. But in reality, this match is not lasting more than 3 minutes, 4 minutes top. I think the longest match Goldberg's had at this point since he returned to WWE was his match against Lesnar at WrestleMania 33 back in 2017. That was like over 5 minutes. That was about it. That feels like a marathon in comparison to recent Goldberg matches. So I don't see this match going very long. I think Bobby Lashley wins. He should win. But I don't know if it's as cut and dry as people say it is, which is madness to say. But this is a company that's done it before. This is a company that's done it before with a character like The Fiend, who was also undefeated, and Bobby Lashley isn't undefeated in his WWE career. He's not even undefeated in recent history. He lost matches to Kofi Kingston, etc. on Monday Night Raw. So I wouldn't be flabbergasted. I would be upset, and I think I would be surprised. But then when you see what's on the horizon, you see, wait a minute, there's a Saudi show coming up in October. I wouldn't be stunned, but I think Bobby Lashley retains here, as he should. So I'm going to go with Lashley to win. But look, guys, as always, it's just one man's opinion. What are your thoughts on Bobby Lashley defending the WWE Championship against Goldberg tonight at SummerSlam? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I'll do my best to respond and reply to all of your comments. Really enjoy interacting with you guys, talking about WWE, AEW, Impact Wrestling, New Japan Pro Wrestling, all things pro wrestling here on the channel. So be sure to smash a like on the like button too. We are going to be going live for a watch-along tonight and a post-show for SummerSlam, so be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner, click the notification bell, you'll be notified when we go live for both streams. Thank you very much for watching, listening, streaming, or have you come across this video today, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right-hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.